First of all, I think it is good to acknowledge that youth employment is and remains a top policy priority in many regions, actually. In terms of what can be done in concrete terms, I would refer to the ILO call for action. It's a resolution that has been adopted in 2012, and it provides a set of concrete measures and recommendations specifically addressed to improving labor market outcomes for young people. These recommendations are economic and employment policies to boost job growth and facilitate access to finance, education and training to ease the school-to-work transition and prevent labor market mismatches, labor market policies to focus on disadvantaged or vulnerable youth, entrepreneurship and self-employment for those young people who would like to become entrepreneurs, and labor rights to ensure that young people receive equal treatment. It's important also to highlight that it's not just about the number of jobs, but also about the quality. It's not just about making a living, but bringing young people into productive and decent work in which rights are respected, adequate income is generated, and social protection is provided. Well, first of all, I would say that experiencing unemployment or underemployment early in life can have long-lasting scarring effects. Currently, 2 out of 5 young people in the labor force are either unemployed or they are working but living in poverty. And it is estimated that over the next 15 years, some 600 million jobs will have to be created in order to keep up with the growth in the working age population. Decent work is a driver of sustainable development. And this, of course, is reflected in the 2030 agenda that has just been adopted in September, in particular by Goal 8, that aims to promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment, and decent work for all. The global initiative on decent jobs for youth that you just mentioned was endorsed by the UN Chief Executives Board for Coordination last week. It was developed by 19 UN entities that are committed to increase the impact of youth employment policies and expand country-level action on decent jobs for young women and men. The initiative aims to increase outreach, scale and impact, including through expanding partnerships on youth employment. During the summit this September, the Director General of the ILO actually mentioned that the hopes and dreams of those young people entering the labor market over the next 15 years will depend heavily on our collective effort to promote decent work for all. First of all, it is good news that educational attainment is improving among young women and men. Education and training is crucial for young people to obtain decent and productive work opportunities. Despite increasing levels of education, however, productive employment can be hampered by low skills or by skills that are not aligned with the labor market requirements. So what can be done in this situation? Improving the links between education, training and the world of work, for example, can help to reduce so-called skills mismatches. The combination of classroom and workplace training can help young people to get relevant and real-life experience. The provision of core skills or soft skills, as they are also called, can help individuals to acquire and apply new knowledge and skills. And the anticipation of future skill needs can prepare young people not only for the jobs of today, but also for the jobs of tomorrow in a fast-changing environment. I think it is very important that young people themselves, of course, are involved in the discussions that are relevant for them and that affect or may affect their future. Young people in this regard, I guess, are very much part of the solution. And I do think that this is happening already, and one very good example, I guess, is the development of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Young people have been involved throughout the process. They continue to be involved. My sense is that they really see that it is also their agenda, and I hope that they will continue to be involved and interested in carrying the agenda forward and actually implementing it, which is now the very and even more important part for the next 15 years.